Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is the 10th day of November, year of our Lord 2025. The first time I've said it's November, and we're a third of the way through. Big shout out to Kyle and Huddie for locking down the show while I was gone for this week. It was, if you guys know, if you stick around for a couple years, you'll know that every week at this time I'll be gone for Deer's Camp. It was great to get outside, get in the woods. We got snow outside right now. It is fall. Feels like winter, but it's fall. It is the month of Thanksgiving. Christmas will be upon us soon. And I feel like I took a pretty good week off from what I saw last week. There's not a ton of tickers. I came home last night, cleaned out my watch list, and there's like 4 things left. The overall market was down every single day. Is it a miracle that the day I get back, it's up 1%? The overall market's gapping up big. No, it just makes sense. So hopefully we get some opportunities this week. Huddy was just kind of filling me in on what he was doing last week, where there was stuff, said there wasn't a ton of day trading opportunities. I know Kyle's doing a little traveling right now, but it's the end of the year. Time to get excited, right, Huddy?
Time to get excited.
Let's give them
Why?
something to talk about. Right?
Yeah, why do we get excited for the end of the year?
I don't know. I feel like that's what Kyle always tells us when he's telling us what months are good and bad. He's like, these ones suck. And I feel like that ends at some point soon, right?
Yeah, totally. I think it already ended.
The bad times?
Yeah.
I think historically I've always had pretty good November through like April. Like that's my favorite time. And then the rest are just
And
me learning my rules over and over.
I really think December, January, and February are always usually great.
I hate just like I don't even like having those thoughts because like you get
No.
excited for a month and for some arbitrary reason. I know you have some data behind it, like it's what we've seen through your career, through your own back testing, but you still never know. You still never know. The play's still got to come. We need to see them. We got to see it first, and then we'll what's the word? Confer? No, concur. Then we'll concur. How's everyone doing out there? We got Mark, Simon, Johnny, Mash for Fun, Wayne, Jabril, Jiri, Disclosed, P Daddy Slim. We'll just get it. We'll get the cat out of the bag. Did you drop one last week, Dom? I didn't. I had some good opportunities at some big deer. Saturday morning, got my first miss under my belt. Nicked a tree, arrow went over the buck. And that was it. That was all she wrote for deer camp. But a lot of cool encounters, a lot of big deer, and that camaraderie of family and friends. If you've never been to a deer camp, hit someone up that does one. Say, can I come for a couple days? Huddy would love deer camp. He would love deer camp.
Really?
Yeah, he would. We wouldn't hunt.
I'm there for the camaraderie for
Yeah,
sure.
you would do like house cleaning, the cooking. We got in at like 5:36, and you're like, I got chicken.
Dinner's ready, boys.
Eat up, have seconds. All right, let us know in the live chat, how'd you do last week? How was your start to November? I got a lot of catching up to do. I got to get my monthly recap from October, the biggest breakouts of October 2025. I make that video lesson today and tomorrow. Gappers, Huddy, clear my mind, get me caught up. How have it was overall market down last week kind of affecting them in terms of we didn't get that many, or were they all just failing? Give me the 1-2 punch on that.
From recent memory, a lot of them failed, and a lot of them failed to a huge degree. We've seen a lot of offerings lately. We've seen a lot of stocks just give back all their gains. Um, it's been a very good gap and crap market,
Makes
and
sense.
I wonder if that's due to the overall market. I mean, like, today we're gapping up 1%. I wonder if that changes the dynamic huge, or if it was just like a week of crappy tickers that were gapping up and conveniently aligned with the overall market.
Makes sense. Whoa, this isn't real, is it? Yeah, I just got a random ticker on my thing that was up 900%, but it's a lie. Yeah, overall market gapping up. We got some gappers in the high price range that are up quite a bit this morning from lower prices. So we'll talk about those. You had mentioned one was a former runner that you even had a nickname for. So you definitely have some history there. Then we'll answer any questions and get out of here around 9:15, 9:20. How's that sound, everyone? That sounds good. That sounds awesome. That sounds amazing. All right. What is our biggest gapper of the day? I see at least 2 up 200 and something percent. Is gelato the biggest one right now?
Yeah.
Let's go right there to Galecto. Let's see if I know how to do
Gelato.
gelato. That one actually, some letter, formation of people's companies' ticker symbols. I feel like there's some discrepancy. Like some person will call it soon, and other people call it like sun, for like SOUN. There are some where I just don't think you could get a different word. GLTO. It does sound like gelato. Like you're not gonna get, unless you went really literal with it, like Gilto, something like that. Maybe there's probably a Gilto out there. Someone calling it Gilto, but it is Galecto. And it is your biggest gap right now. Was up significantly more, still finding itself this morning, up 270% of biotech. We'll take a look at the chart in a minute, but you probably do have some history here, unless it was too high priced, for a play back in October on a recent gap, running into that resistance right now with a 1.1 million float. The news 2 hours ago was that they announced acquisition of Demora Therapeutics. Do you have any more information on that news piece? Any dollar symbols attached to it, or?
I just see it's an acquisition and a $285 million pipe.
Okay. I'm seeing across the board looks pretty low to medium in terms of risk here as a company. They have some money, eight months of cash, but they are burning quite a bit of it every quarter. What else? What do you have for dilution? I don't even see anything except a shelf from a long time ago.
I mean, they have something going on with the press release today. I just don't really know off the top of my head what it all means. But last time it gapped up, it had a pretty ugly day and faded for the next 20 days, and now it's gapping up again. I don't know. These are always kind of confusing to me because there's some type of fundamental news going on, but it has a history of fading. So I don't really think it's all of a sudden like this great company that's going to hold this price range. But what do I know in terms of the news and this random acquisition?
Yeah, this is actually impressive. This is like it's not an actual first green day pattern, but literally the first time since that day, that little 3-day move, that we've been up at all. And are we up? Are we actually up? 5 to the 20s this morning so far, going sideways near the highs. It's the range is so big here from the lows when that news came out, in the fives all the way towards 27, and now consolidating in the high teens. Looks healthy so far. We still got 24 minutes to go to the open. Do you have any remembrance of what the pre-market was of that day that we failed hard in October?
Pre-market?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're a
Not
notes
at all.
taker. I don't know if you were you noticed it was it looked really good. It was up a lot, and because it was a similar gap, 4 to 25, and it
I
faded
remember
quite
being
hard.
scared of it. I remember being scared of it and then being quite pleased with the end of the day result.
Yeah, not a ton of history besides this most recent movement, top left to bottom right overall. Probably some splits in the past here with a 1 mil float and a little bit higher priced, but you got kind of two angles that I kind of see it as. Really no interest in this as a long for me, as it's not a pattern. It's already up plenty. You got resistance overhead, so maybe there's some levels from that day or the high of this bounce, from the nines, 100% move back here into the 18s. Maybe that area acts as some resistance. The overhead level near 30. Short resistance or gap and crap, I think makes the most sense here. Not saying it can't go higher and this can't light the small cap market on fire, and all of a sudden we got massive runners Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For Huddie's sake, I guess I hope that doesn't happen, but for small cap sake, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I definitely lean more bearish on this. Just due to the price action recently, and that I just think it's going to be hard for stocks to run after failing and putting in such a big volume candle so recently with so much range as well. That is Galecto. We got another big gapper up an absolute ton right now, up 240%, which is move. Get your move on, right? And this one is another low float. I see this one as 680K. When you see like 700K or 1.1 million, if you were to have like a float requirement of not messing around with, I've heard you say you don't like to mess around with sub 1 mil floats. If you see 1.1 million, is that good enough for all green flag? We're going for it. You just, even though we're talking about 100K different.
You gotta draw the line somewhere. And it's really not about like the number that one chooses. It's really about the why behind someone's choosing it. So like if you think sub 1 mil floats are dangerous, but 1.1 million aren't dangerous, like I don't think that's necessarily logical. Um, I think a 1.1 million float and a 1 million float can act the exact same, right? Like that's just a random like whole number that like that I chose to like say like underneath that I don't want to short. Um, so it's really the reason why, and I think like where it gets like especially like nerve wracking is lower, like in the 500, 400, 300K range. Um, so that's why I choose like anything under a million, and that's just the line in the sand that I've drawn. But like 1.1 mil floats can do some crazy things too, you know. So can 2 mil floats. I think anything up to 5 mil can do some crazy things. At least from what I've heard from the data guys.
Yeah, we always have those days where you're like, I thought this float was like 9 million, and why is it halting every second? Why is it so thin? Why is it moving so quickly? But it certainly does happen. Taking a look at this one here, Move, which is Movano, medical device company out of the United States with a 680K float. Do we have news here? 1 hour ago, Corvex to go public, an all stock merger with Movano, creating a pure play platform for secure AI infrastructure and high performance inference. It looks like they've done a reverse split recently after getting an extension on their listing extension, delinquency, a lot of not great things I'm reading as what is their general recent news. But they are merging with someone else. They're in a horrible cash position. They have negative 5 months of cash left, so they're less than zero, and they're spending money every month. Do you see anything obvious in terms of winning warrants or recent dilution or potential ATMs?
I see nothing.
You see nothing.
It all says out of play.
Out of play. Okay, Edgar. Taking a look at this daily chart, kind of had some movement into August into September from the $6 area. I think this would have been pre-split, but 100% move, consolidation, and fail. We're gapping above that area right now, which is like the $13 area. Shifting left on our charts here. Also, I need to figure out what we're going to do here. E-Trade's going to be gone by the end of the week for this. But top left to bottom right, absolutely not a ton of volume besides 2025. Not really a ton of big runs, no history to go off of. Just a really clean, like you could, I feel like, snowboard down this chart. It's very, very clean, top left to bottom right. It would be a very smooth ride. There would, be a couple ramps in there that are very, very conservative. You could take them. So that's kind of the level of resistance I would look at would be that 13 area if I was drawing some lines. I'm not looking at this like a big breakout over that area where if I see a print over that right out of the gate, I'm just going to buy it. We are up over 200%. I think with how low, a little often breakouts work. The last thing I want to do is be chasing them up this much. It's not really my style. I'm more of a multi-day guy, not multi-week, multi-month. But when you have stocks gapping over resistance, it gives it the opportunity to then hold that resistance as support versus sometimes when they open right under it or right at it. You do get a lot of pressure of short sellers, bag holders that can kind of force it. And then, that moves right into a gap and crap. They do need cash, but it is such a low float that I would be a little scared with a $15 stock and a 680K float. I think that would worry me on the long side and the short side. So this is probably something that I would just learn from today and not push any buttons on, just because on a Monday morning, I don't really like messing with these tiny floats and higher prices that can get you to take 1.5, 2, 3R just because you can't get out where you want. What are your thoughts on Move?
I'm just happy I get to avoid it. I don't really have an opinion either way on this company. I don't know anything about their merger. I don't like their float. I don't like the price range. I don't really like the daily chart. Like you said, it kind of has this like breakout look, but also like could easily fail that look. So A lot of things conflicting, and I'm glad just the data kind of aligns with something that I get to ignore completely. Um, so we'll see
Yeah.
what it does. Like you said, like I'll check on it end of day to see how it hung around, but I don't really have any expectations either way.
Yeah, I at the end of the day, you could rinse repeat that last sentence that Huddy just said. For my opinion, on all day one gappers, there's this, there's that, there's resistance, the support, there's volume, but really, I wouldn't be surprised by any type of move, especially when you throw a 680K float on it as well. Volume is on this one, I would just say is like dollar volume wise is fine, but just in terms of pure volume, not the most impressive thing. Some of the swipes this morning, not the best in terms of getting stopped out where you want. 1180 candle to 1480, and then another one to 18. We got two runners today that are lower float and higher price that could make some moves, or they could just keep on with the theme of last week that Huddy was saying, and maybe there's just not enough overconfidence in the short sellers right now to get some massive squeezes, but they are up a lot already, right around that 200% area. Did GLTO actually just look bad when we left it and now is back up? Yeah, that one's up over 300% now. So we got some movers. We got some gappers. Is there anything we're missing that is... I saw some that looked like they were like acquisitions or something, or just not interesting. Yeah, COGT is not
there's
interesting.
COGT.
Is that interesting?
No,
Okay.
it's more of a real
And
company.
that was it. Okay. That's all I was seeing there, which takes us right to 9:14. So we'll see if we have any questions. And wow. It's kind of weird. We got 134 of you in here. I forgot to ask. Sorry, guys. I've been away for a couple of days. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Get that number into the 30s and 40s. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. All that jazz. We got long form videos coming out all the time, so you don't want to miss that. We're live every day. The market is open. But we have like more people than we normally see in here, and there is not one stock related question. I tell you, the watch lists are completely decimated right now. There's not a ton out there. Maybe that means that the best plays, in quotes, because I don't think they're plays for me. The most action is going to be surrounding these big gappers this morning. Maybe some laggers come about in the 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. window, and we get some more movement. But yeah. Let's see. AZ Trades Crypto says PGY is interesting. Not for me. Not for me. Not really a small cap. Not really the price range. Not really the type of movement we're looking for. Gapping up off its lows, but not really what we're talking about here every morning with PGY. Jerry says empty watch list. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's been the case lately. Ever kind of since we had BYND and whatever the couple plays were right after that, it's been a little slow. The overall market's been a little choppy. Do we V hook right back to the all-time highs? We shall see this week. But that's gonna wrap up the show this morning. Huddy, have you been doing any motivational stuff? Anything that you'd like to share with the people as we start a new week here in November and really starting to look forward to closing out another year in the markets?
See what I got.
See what you got. Do 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 do. Nothing. Nothing today. Let me just see here if I need a positive quote. The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. Did we say that before?
I don't think so.
Dolly Parton, the one, the only. Dolly Parton. There. I hope you guys have a great start to your week. We're going to go over and hang out with the Clovers right now and get settled in before the open. You can always join over at clovertrading.io if you want access to a couple of the video lessons that are coming out over the next few days for me, for my October review and the biggest breakouts of the month. And webinars every single week. If not, and you're just here for the YouTube, we'll be live again tomorrow, 8:45 a.m., back on our regular schedule. And looking forward to it. I hope you guys have a great start to your week. Huddy, I hope you have the most splendid morning. And let's go out there. Let's go out there and fight, right? In a very safe and a conservative way. Bye.